set up. We're just getting, looks like we're here. We're going. Let's go for it.
Hi, I'm Tom Hart. I'm the Vice President of Operations here at VictorOps.
My name's Eric. I'm an Operations Specialist here at VictorOps.
So the marketing team here at VictorOps signed the ops team up to do what we call Tuesdays at 2. So we get together on the Hangout and provide a walkthrough of the core features and functionality of the VictorOps platform. So that's what we're going to do. So Eric's going to start a screen share, and we'll talk a little bit about VictorOps as an organization, and then go into the key features and functionality of the platform. Bear with us.
You should be seeing our screen at this point. Go ahead and load our demo account, and I'll let Tom kind of give you some background on VictorOps.
So myself, amongst the core leadership team here at VictorOps, come from an extensive telecommunications background. Myself and the co-founders have worked together on and off in the Boulder, Colorado startup community for about the past 15 years. Most of that time was spent building and maintaining a global telephony platform that required a 5 nines uptime 365 days a year, 24/7. During that experience, the thought of VictorOps was really born. There are numerous times, as you well know, when software is not performing the way it should. You have triage calls where you have to pull various team members together, database, network engineering, operations, and we would all get together on a call, but we were all looking at disparate pieces of data. You know, network engineering was looking at one set of data, database was looking at another, but no one was coming together in a collaborative nature in terms of, you know, the actual incidents that were causing the infrastructure issue. So the VictorOps platform, again, was born from that quote-unquote combat experience over the years in recognizing that there wasn't a collaborative platform that allowed support organizations, regardless of your title, a single pane of glass solution to see exactly what's going on with your infrastructure, who's working on what, and an ability to collaborate to resolve incidents faster. So the core focus of the VictorOps platform is not just to wake you up in the middle of the night to alert you of a problem. What we're really concentrating on is resolving that problem faster, and hopefully that'll come through as we go through and demonstrate the product here today. I'm going to turn it over to Eric, and he's going to walk through the people pane, which is on the left-hand side of your screen. Before I do that, I should point out that you're looking at the web user interface right now, but we are a mobile-first organization, so the experience that you see in front of you is also reflective in our native iOS and Android applications as well. That said, I'll turn it over to Eric.
Alrighty, Roo. Over here on the left side, we have what we like to call the people pane. You can see that these top 4 individuals here each have an oak leaf next to their name. We use the oak leaf to show that they are currently on call. And the team that they're currently on call for is listed in orange. So as you can see, Nate's on 4 different teams. He's currently on call for 2 of them. Jason's on call for database and DevOps, Joni on sales, Charlie on demo team. As you move down below them here, you can see that these 2 individuals have green dots next to their name. The green dot is used to show that they have recently logged in, checked in, that they're effectively paying attention. As you might notice, the green dot next to my name here is a little bit more vibrant than Brad's green dot. That green dot will actually decay over a period of about 3 hours until it kind of becomes this translucent green dot here. We think that's especially important because we want this to be a collaborative platform. As you well know, things come in, incidents come in all the time that might be outside your technical acumen or your ability or your specific knowledge. And we think it's important to know who has recently checked in and paid attention because you can draw on them as a resource. This is all about teamwork here. So knowing that maybe I have a specific knowledge of our database, if Jason's on call, he can reach out to me using an app mention. We'll just use an app mention to John and say, hey, can you help out? And he'll get a push notification on his phone. He can jump in and help work the issue to ground and fight the fire. If you click on the people's names here, we have their contact information. You have an email address, phone number, You also have the ability to hold sidebar conversation here that is not recorded in the main timeline. We also have the take on call button here. We all have, a myriad of things that we do outside of work. Tom coaches his kids' hockey and baseball teams. So a lot of times what he'll do if he's on call and he knows he's going to be away is he'll reach out using the same app mentioned we used here to Nate or I and say, hey, can you guys take on call for a couple hours? All we have to do is jump in here, click the take on call button, and we effectively pass the pager at that point, and we assume all duties and responsibilities of being on call. And then once Tom's back on the grid, he just jumps in and takes on call back. Also, just really quickly to note, because so many of our users are using the mobile clients, these buttons are hot. So if you tap on them on your iPhone, it'll open up the email client, or you can send them an SMS or start a phone call right away. Tom, I'll send it back your way.
Thanks, Eric. So moving into the center of the screen there is our main timeline. And we have no shame in admitting that we're mimicking the Twitter experience in that main timeline. So as you integrate your various monitoring solutions into the VictorOps platform, be it Nagios, New Relic, Zabbix, Xenos, whatever you're using, you integrate those monitoring solutions into the VictorOps platform, and that information will then flow into the main timeline that you see in front of you. Obviously, if you receive a critical alert, that will trigger your escalation policy for a various team or teams plural, and reach out to you via SMS, phone, email, or a push notification, however you want to be notified. So in the center of the screen, again, that's to provide you with situational awareness of exactly what's going on within your infrastructure. I'm going to turn it over to Nate here to talk about kind of the life cycle of an incident as it relates to the VictorOps platform.
So in order to get a incident into the timeline that is outside of the demo script we have running, I'm going to hit a REST endpoint using our Hubot integration. So just by typing this in, I'm going to create a critical incident about test incident for demo. So as you see, when an incident first comes in, it shows up here in the main timeline. It says that it's open, and it says who it's trying to contact. So in this example, it's actually me who is trying to contact, and it's for 4 incidents that you also see queued up here on the right. Clicking in on an incident, you're presented with an additional timeline. This timeline is specific to just this incident. So as you see, the rest of the noise in the timeline is not showing up here. This is super helpful for when you have a series of alerts coming through and you want to focus on one incident in particular. I can still do the @ and the @ mentions from within this timeline. So if I were to send one to myself, it's automatically going to send me a push notification that contains the incident number, so I know what I'm being called in to help out with. It also shows up in the main timeline with the incident number, so if you see a conversation going on, you'll quickly be able to determine what people in your organization are talking about. So frequently on weekends, if you're just checking in, you're not necessarily on call, you can come in. If you see a conversation going on, you can click in on that incident and join in with the conversation. The other option over here on the right, besides acknowledgement, which puts it down into the acknowledge queue, is to reroute. So both in the triggered and acknowledged state, you have the option to reroute. Rerouting essentially sends the incident off to a different team. So if I felt this incident was better suited for the database team, I can, in 2 buttons, click database and then reroute. And without having to look up who's on call for that team or what their phone number is, they're going to start getting paged. Again, this is all going to show up in the main timeline and in the incident timeline, so you have a good record of what has been going on with this incident in particular. I'm not going to act this because, again, this is outside of our normal demo, and I don't want it to page me all night. A few other things on the right side of the screen here, we also have some filters. So we're in as an admin user, but you can see that it does filter down by different, by instance for you and instance for your team. And then you also have the option for maintenance mode. Maintenance mode allows you to stop all pages being sent from the VictorOps system for a certain amount of time. Essentially, all of the information is still going to come through in the main timeline. So if I entered it here, you can see that there's a red bar across the top informing everyone in the organization that this has happened. And then it says maintenance mode is entered. So again, you have a record in the timeline that you're then going to be able to report on, and we'll show you how that is done later. When you exit maintenance mode, it will resume paging for all outstanding incidents. Again, you'll see there's 3 outstanding incidents, and it's trying to contact me for those 3 incidents, and it's going to send me an email.
You want to talk about alert annotations, right?
Yes, so we do have another feature in beta currently, soon to be in a public beta, but for now, if you are watching and you are interested in this feature after I give it a little explanation, just send an email out to support@victorops.com. But what alert annotations allows you to do, it's actually one half of the feature, I'll get into the second half later, is it allows you to annotate 3 different things: links, notes, and images. How this works is based on any of the information that comes through in the payload of the alert, whether it's host name, service description, really anything that you send through, you are then able to create wildcard matches and then annotate information related to that alert. So if you have a runbook for a specific host, you can match on that host name and then annotate a link directly to that runbook. Same goes with the triage document. So if you recently made a change to a specific service, you can then add a note so that every time there's an alert that involves that service, the person on call knows what you made a change about. And then I think graphs are pretty self-explanatory. If a graph would be relevant for you when you got that type of alert, add it directly into the timeline or directly into the alert itself, and then you have it both on your phone and in the web UI.
So again, alert annotations, as Nate referenced, is currently in beta, but readily available if you're interested in it. You can set up a 14-day free trial at VictorOps.com, and the support organization is always available to assist you during your in-trial experience. Along those lines, we're going to jump into the administrative settings of our platform. These features are only available through the web UI. We figured from a design perspective it would be difficult for folks to set up an on-call rotation via their phone, so we chose to do it through the web UI.
All right, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about our scheduling component of the platform here. We can handle a myriad of different scheduling types. A lot of our customers just use a standard 24/7 on-call rotation, but just helped somebody the other day set up a follow the sun rotation covering actually 7 different parts of the globe. So we are, as they mentioned, more than willing and available to help you out in whatever way we can. So I'll drive into this follow the sun schedule here. This is going to show the escalation policy for that team. This is set up to immediately notify the on-duty users in rotation follow the sun, so the on-call individual. You can change these based on whatever your preferences are. You can add as many steps in the escalation policy as you would like. Step 2 here is, if still unactive after 15 minutes, notify a specific user. And then another 15 minutes here. Again, you can change it. You can execute a webhook, send an email to a certain email address. This is especially useful for people who don't necessarily want to include a maybe a senior member of the team in the platform. They just want them to be notified if something has gone unactive for a given period of time. You can shoot them an email that way. Again, this is fully customizable based on your preferences, and you can add as many steps as you'd like.
So with the scheduling interface, the nice thing is normally you set it up once and you're off to the races. And again, the support team here at VictorOps is always available to assist you in setting up your on-call rotation. Like I said, once you set it up, you normally don't have to go back into your calendaring or rotations that often. One thing, if Eric didn't touch on it, we do have the ability to do scheduled overrides as well.
Yeah.
So Eric demonstrated the ability to take on call earlier through the primary user interface. You can also, from an administrative perspective, if you know a team member is going to be out on vacation or just out of pocket later in the week, you can schedule an override into your rotation. So that's another feature that's available. From here, we're going to jump into the user accounts and just show you, similar to the team escalation policy, each individual user can set up their various phone numbers and emails for personal notification purposes. Scrolling down to the paging policy area, you can see similar types of steps. Immediately send me an email or immediately send me a push. Some folks have redundancy where they, say send me an email, push, text, whatever it may be, however you want to be notified. As you can see, you can add as many steps here as you'd like with time durations as Eric's demonstrating there at various different levels. So full flexibility in terms of how you want to be notified. I should point out as well, on the iOS and Android applications, you can customize the notification. So you can have a unique sound like a siren, different sounds to differentiate a notification from the VictorOps platform. Eric can demonstrate. So that's what the ops team here at VictorOps receives when we get a communication from our customer base, which is a pleasant noise to get at 3 o'clock in the morning. But it definitely wakes you up. So that's a look at the personal notifications. From here, let's jump out and we'll jump into integrations. I'll probably turn it back over to Nate here to talk a little bit about our integration capability. As you can see on the right-hand side of the screen is a list of the various integrations that we have with monitoring solutions. Similarly, we have integrations with chat clients such as HipChat and Slack. So we don't want to replace what you may be using internally from a chat perspective. We want to complement that. And again, we can provide full support to help you with the integrations. But I'm going to let Nate talk a little bit about our REST endpoint.
So as you see, the REST endpoint is essentially just a simple URL that contains an API key that's specific to your organization, and then a routing key, which can be any string. It's defined here at the bottom of the page. Database will go to database, VictorOps to follow the sun. You can add as many rules as you like, and those can be associated to as many teams as you like. Essentially how this works is if you're able to define the payload of a webhook, we only require one field. There's a couple others that we would suggest that you send over, but again, it's a very simple way to send alerts into VictorOps. If you're unable to define the body or define the webhook, or are just unable to send a webhook at all, email will be the other option. It's essentially the same idea in that it's a API key specific to your organization, then a routing key, again defined at the bottom of the page. And what we do with this is we parse the subject line of that email address for key terms like critical, acknowledged, warning, so that we know the message type that you are sending through into our system. If you are unable to define the subject, we do have some additional options using the transformation aspect of the Transmogrifier, which we will get into after reports.
So from here, we'll jump into our reporting module. These should be fairly self-explanatory from their title. Key performance indicators from an operational standpoint for the most part. One of our key reports is our postmortem or retrospective report. Having had to adhere to service level agreements for far too many years in my operational role, when and if an outage situation were to occur, or something that would require a retrospective or postmortem report, this is a really slick, easy way to create a graceful report that captures that particular incident. As Eric's demonstrating, you can provide a quick write-up. He selected a date and a timestamp for when this mock incident occurred. As you can see, everything that transpired during that time frame is captured, and you can go through, as Eric was just doing, and remove things that are relevant to the postmortem report. And you can also add notes. So you can throw in a note at a particular timestamp saying things like, this is when things broke. All of this can be saved to your VictorOps instance, and also you can create it into a PDF for delivery internally or externally. So pretty handy feature that our customers are using quite frequently. So that's a look at our reporting. I should point out that we're in the process of introducing additional reports into the reporting module, and we'll continue to do so in the weeks and months ahead. From here, we're going to turn it over to Nate to talk about our Transmogrifier, named after the Calvin and Hobbes cartoon. And Nate's going to go through annotations and transformations.
So yeah, as I showed you earlier in the timeline, the annotation feature allows you to add notes, images, and links. And how that works is just through these matching rules. So as you see here, if the entity ID were to contain staging, then we would annotate a note kind of informing us why the transformation is about to take place, and then also transform the alert type to info. So how this would look in the timeline is a critical alerts are red. It would still be a red alert, but then we would change the alert type to info, and thus no pages would be sent out. So in order to change alert type based or alert severity level, or in the next sample, routing key, you can do this based on any of the information that comes through in the payload of alert, as opposed to just specific fields that showed up in the original body. So this allows for a lot more flexibility if you have a older system or a system with limited options for routing that you're sending into VictorOps. You can make those changes on our end as well. This is another nice feature, and I think there's an example down here, is the ability to annotate a hubot command. So as I showed you earlier, I used hubot in the main timeline in order to hit a REST endpoint to create a sample alert. So essentially hubot can run any script you want. And the ability to annotate a hubot command means that if you see certain things, like in this example, Apache has gone down on a specific host, you can have hubot go out and restart Apache, and then you don't need to wake anyone up. This is a step that you know you're going to take if you were to get woken up, so why not automate that using a chat ops functionality of VictorOps? And that about covers it, unless there's anything else we want to touch on, guys.
No, I don't think so. That's a quick walkthrough of the VictorOps platform. And again, you can always reach out to support@victorops.com, and that gets a hold of the three of us, including Nate and his beard. And we're always available to assist during your 14-day free trial. We're happy to get you set up with your integrations and your on-call schedules. And then from there, you're pretty much off to the races. So again, we appreciate you taking the time. And please reach out to support@victorops.com if you have any questions. Thank you.